All right, it's a tough subject with Dennis Gillen and not Jessica Seal. She could not make it. It happens when you have a partner scheduling. One day she'll run the show and I won't be here. Make the entire audience happy. No, I got an interesting guest today, and it's funny because we were looking for a guest, and he was right in front of us. Our producer, Tim Cicciarelli, and I'm going to intro you, Tim, and then I'm going to first tell you how. When we talk about it's a tough subject, we tend to pigeonhole ourselves a little bit with suicide, but it's a grief message. It's a mental health talk. It's way more than what we intended it to be in the beginning. For a comfort for those who lost someone to suicide. It's bigger than that. It's way bigger than that. So recently, I took 2 trainings. One was Soul Shop, and we had Michelle Snyder on. And I'm going to get to you, Tim, because it all ties in. Mm-hmm. She said when she was dealing with a divorced man in his middle age, she asked him right away, "Are you suicidal?" All right, that's one thing that hit me. Like, all right, guys who are alone, she asked right away. And the second thing was about a year or a half ago, I was asked to write an article for a bunch of male widows. There's an association of male widows. And I never thought of that. I never thought about that. But then I looked back when I went through my divorce, a woman gave me a book, and this book covered a divorce and a loss. This woman lost her husband to divorce, and she lost a husband to disease. And she parallels the grief journey on both. And it's right there. It was right in front of me. You were right in front of me the whole time, Tim, with your grief journey. For those who don't know, and we'll get to you, is Tim's got a story to tell. And it's right there. Often what happens on this podcast is Jessica and I, and Tim disappears, goes in the background and produces this thing. And Tim, you want to tell the audience real quick who you are, what you do, and why you wanted to be on today?
Certainly, and I appreciate the invitation to be on. And it has been such a blessing for me to be your producer for this podcast for so many reasons. First of all, I've gained 2 wonderful friends in you and Jessica. And then, if we go back to how you and I met, you were looking to start a podcast and you found me on a platform, and I have a podcasting network, and we connected, and it was like let's just a trial, let's give it a go and see if this works type thing. And the chemistry that you and Jessica have in producing this podcast with this unique experience that where you both have lost loved ones to suicide, and you, both of your brothers, it just started to grow and evolve. And I was just the one recording and listening and producing and distributing the podcast. And when you and I met, Dennis, I think it was maybe a year and a half ago, maybe close to 2 years-ish.
Yeah.
And I was living in Denver with my wife, Amy. And Amy and I, our story's a little bit different. As a matter of fact, Amy always wanted us to write a story about our love story, like a movie. She even, for Valentine's Day, she gave me this. Probably can't see it, but she gave me this book, and then her photo was right there, and I'm covering up the title, but it's called This Story is Bananas. You can't really see it because it's blurred out. But
what is bananas?
It is bananas. And Amy and I'll go back to our story in a minute, but Amy was battling breast cancer.
Right when you and I met.
Yeah. She had already been in the throes of her battle for a couple of years, and I can go back and tell that story in a minute once we set up how you and I came together and how this podcast about suicide really does relate to what I'm going through and so many others in just a grief journey that has nothing to do with suicide. But we go back a year and a half or so, we meet, we start this podcast. Amy and I are living in Denver. Throughout that time, her disease progresses. We moved to Georgia to be close to her parents and their farm. And Amy and I, we moved here in Georgia in July of 2024. And that's when the podcast really started to kind of hit a stride for you and Jessica. I think we launched right around that time. And then in that time, Amy's disease progressed and quickly. And I lost Amy on May 26th of 2025, right as we were about to start season 3. And now this podcast took on a whole new meaning for me. And that's what we can talk about here today is even though it's a podcast about suicide prevention, mental health awareness, it's about grief and how you and Jessica are and have been handling your grief for decades. So I get to learn from the two of you, even though the death of a loved one is different, the grief is still the same.
Oh,
That's what I've learned. And you and Jessica have been an amazing support system for me. And gosh, I almost feel like I'm getting free therapy in producing this podcast, just to listen to how the two of you have navigated through it and how you're inspiring others to navigate through it.
Well, if you feel guilty about getting the free therapy, we could send you a bill.
The funny thing is I actually send you a bill. It's not fair.
That's how it works. You're the producer. Backwards. It's backwards. We're in backwards world.
It's backwards.
So May,
Yeah.
gosh, you're still in the year of first. The first year is brutal.
The first year is brutal.
Before we get to the first year, brutal.
Yeah.
Tell the love story. Tell how you met her.
Gladly.
And then the gap, and then how you reconnected. That's a cool story.
Because I think it is special, and everybody who is deeply in love feels their story is special, and it is because of what was created, right? It is special. Amy and I met right where I'm in the area where I'm living right now. Amy was a student at the University of Georgia. I was in my mid-20s. I was working at a radio station and also working at a honky-tonk club back when, in the 90s when line dancing and the big hats. And so that's what I did. That was my side hustle. I was working at a honky-tonk in north of Athens, Georgia. And I was up in the DJ booth. And listen, you have to hear the sincerity in my voice. It was love at first sight. That's a real thing.
Like you looked out at the dance floor. Wow.
I'm getting chills, almost like she's with me right now. I remember being up at the we called it a crow's nest. It was a DJ booth up high above the dance floor in the whole club. And this beautiful young lady walks in front of the dance floor, and there was something about her gait, and she just so beautiful to me. And I don't. This is the funny thing. I don't actually remember meeting her. I remember seeing her. Now, in this book that I just held up, she describes in detail us meeting one another. Well, she was in college, like I mentioned, and this became a whirlwind love story. We were around each other every single day, all the time, unless she was at school or I was working. And it got to be a little bit too much for young Amy, and she was, having to finish school, and so we broke up, and it was strange because we had this amazing relationship, and it was fun, and she was adventurous, and she was funny, and just fit me like a glove. But she broke up with me because it was just too much. That's what she said in the book. It sounds silly, but I was devastated, Dennis. And this is in 1994, 100 years ago, it feels like. So she went on with her life. I went on with my life. And in the time that we were dating, I had the access to a lot of country music stars because that's what I did for a living. So I took her backstage at a Trisha Yearwood concert in Atlanta in early 1995. Fast forward years later, I found that photo of Amy. This is after my divorce, and I was cleaning out old radio memorabilia, and I found this photo of Amy and me backstage with Trisha Yearwood at the Fox Theater in Atlanta. And I go, gosh, I wonder what Amy's up to. So I go to Facebook and I type her name in, and there she is.
Stalker.
I know. It's kind of weird, isn't it? It's a little strange. But
No, people do that all the time. They wonder where people are.
Well, that was I'm going to be honest with you. I felt very weird about it, but here's the part that's interesting. I saw she had a public profile, but Amy's wasn't a look at me person at all. And so the fact that her profile was public was interesting to me, and it showed that she was with her kids, and it showed her as divorced, but then it showed her battling cancer, and it showed her in a chemo chair, and it showed her with a wig, and then the posts stopped. So I thought she passed away, and I remember being devastated, and I had to question myself, buddy, it's been 24 years. Why are you so devastated? And I was. Whoa. But I just moved on, and a whole year went by.
A year?
A whole year went by. I thought she had passed away, and I moved on, and I, for some reason, she came to my mind again, and I looked her up again, and I was convinced she had passed away, but something prompted me to look her up again, and there she was with her daughter after climbing a 14er in Colorado, and I couldn't believe it that she was still here, and within minutes, I'm like. I sent a message, and she sent a message right back. And after a couple of months of Facebook messaging and a few texts, and then we graduated to some phone calls, but never a FaceTime. But we, after a few months, couple of months, we decided to see each other. And that was it. She was in Colorado. I was in Los Angeles. And this was right when COVID kind of started, and airline tickets were like $37. So yeah. I flew up there and I'd fly her down, and this relationship grew, and it was magical and it was beautiful. And she's my person and I was her person. It was obvious. Well, within 6 weeks of us dating, maybe 5 weeks, because it was COVID, I mentioned earlier that she had cancer, but she was in remission. And she was close to her 5-year mark. And I'm a cancer survivor myself. So, as you get close to that 5-year mark, that's a big
deal.
Right? So because of COVID, they weren't doing, her appointment didn't happen to check up on her.
Oh, yeah. They weren't doing like unnecessary stuff.
But even though that should be necessary, right?
It's extremely necessary. A cancer follow-up.
Right. But because it was close to the 5 years, they go, any symptoms? No. We'll see in 6 months. Well, then 6 months came by and she had her appointment, and because things were starting to open up again. And she had some issue with her liver. She had breast cancer before and was in remission, but it looked like there was an issue in her liver with the enzymes. And so
did she have any symptoms at this point?
None. Zero symptoms. She felt
so you guys are dating, going around. She has a doctor's appointment. All right, Tim, I'll see you in a bit. I'm going to the doctor.
Yeah. Like she was like, I'm going to the doctor for, hey, we're getting closer to that 5-year mark. And the doctor was like, the liver enzymes are looking a little not good, a little high. Wacky. So we need to do an ultrasound. And I don't mean to get into the weeds and all the details, but they through the ultrasound showed there was some tumors in there. So then she didn't have her official diagnosis quite yet, and I just decided to fly up there to be with her. So we're 5 weeks into this new relationship again, and I'm sitting there holding her hand. The doctor comes in and confirmed it, and it was bad. It was stage 4 breast cancer, and it was in her liver and it was in her spine. So
what? You guys just rekindled your romance.
We had just rekindled, and it was just devastating. And I was living in Los Angeles. She was in Denver, Colorado. And we still continued to see each other every couple of weeks. And then 4 or 5 months later, I decided to move to Denver. I have my own company, so I moved to Denver to help her. She has 3 children.
This is it was like a Nicholas Sparks movie and a Hallmark, and then just took a left turn. Cancer. F cancer. Just F it. Seriously, I'm trying not to curse, but holy mackerel, this is like a beautiful love story. Then bam.
This story is bananas. That's what she has right here. And she wrote, and that's what she says in there. It's like we had just found our person again at the age where we can grow
fully enjoy each other.
And fully enjoy each other. And this happened. But as much of as a curse as it was, I mean, it enabled me to love. Now, love is more than a feeling; it's a verb. It's what you do.
Yeah.
And one of the gifts that I got as her then boyfriend, and when you're in your 50s, it's weird to call somebody a girlfriend and a boyfriend, but
I've been there, done that. It's weird.
It's weird, right?
Date, yeah.
That's what we were. And so I wanted to take care of her, and I adore her. Still, I adored her and adore her now. So not to make this story too long, but I moved up there. We ended up moving in together, and she has 3 children, lovely children. And so that was a whirlwind situation. And I'd never had girls before. I raised 2 boys already that were in college and out of the house. And it was lovely. We had this new bonus family I had.
Yeah.
And the disease, it's like a roller coaster. Anybody that's battled cancer or
good days, bad days,
the cancer spreads, the cancer shrinks. It's in constant up and down. It's a roller coaster, a lot of joy, a lot of sorrow. Well, in 2023, we got married, and it was a lovely day in July of 2023. We got married. She was feeling better. Everything was going great. And life was just glorious for a while until she had another brain tumor because it spread to her brain. So she had brain surgery shortly thereafter. She had 2 brain surgeries, more surgeries than I can even talk about here on this podcast because I want to get to grief, not just our story. So fast forward, the disease is progressing. We want to be near her parents and their farm here in North Georgia. And we moved here in July of 2024. And then things really started to get bad for Amy about a year ago right now.
That's a big move. Colorado, back to Georgia, back
Georgia.
to ground zero where you all met, basically.
Yes, Dennis, it is. And I mean, and I still drive by that club and it's full circle. And that's what she wants our story to be called, Circle Back, because that's what we did. We circled back to each other, and then we circled back to Georgia where it all started. And I still drive by that building, that old club where I met her often.
What is it now?
It's now called Rodeo. Back in the day, it was called Country Rock Cafe, and it's still there. And I drive by that thing, and I'm like, that's where it all started with that sweet girl. So, you know, there's so much more to tell about the story, but it was a beautiful love story. And here's the thing about grief, where we can
still is.
It still is. And that's what I'm learning. And I have experienced grief in the past as I lost my mother. I've lost friends. I've lost grandparents, but this leveled me. It's leveling me, to be honest with you. It's not over. I don't know that it'll ever be over. And I see how many years that you've been grieving your brothers, and it's never over.
No. You never get over it. You get through it.
You get through it.
No. Yeah, you get through it, but you come out. You come out different, obviously. Hopefully the grief does its work and it makes you a better person. But man, you're always going to miss that person. That's a fact. You know, shared joy is a double joy. Shared sorrow is half a sorrow. We talk about that a lot. Half. You're always going to have a remainder, and that means the person was significant to you.
I heard this morning that the level of grief we feel is the level of love we have for that person. And I don't know if that's totally accurate, but it sure feels that way. And I saw that post on Instagram, and so the algorithm knows me very well now. So
yeah, it's got you figured out.
And so I'm going to tell you, I don't hate it. There's a lot of people grieving together on social media. I haven't posted about it yet, other than some videos I've made about Amy that you've been so kind to see. But I do want to say this. We lost Amy a lot faster than we thought. We thought she'd be, fighting this battle for a long time. We thought the last real downfall was more of a big blip, but it wasn't. And we lost her. And you're in Greenville, South Carolina, and I'm near Athens, Georgia. And during Amy's funeral, I had this almost kind of a panic attack. I'm a little embarrassed to say. I was in the front row with her children and my children and her parents. And I'm looking at all the photos of her at the front. And I said to her, well, here we are. This is what we talked about for 5 years. This is what we worried about for 5 years. And here we are, darling. I called her darling. I called her darling because when we reconnected, I go, so what do you want? And she said, I want someone to hold my hand and call me darling. And I want that person to be you.
Come on, dude. You're going to make me cry. Paige and Nicholas Sparks. This is a movie here. Holy crapola.
So she was
I want someone to call me darling.
And hold my hand, and I want it to be you. I screenshot that text. I look at it all the time. So I called her darling. So I'm looking up there at the photos, and I'm like, here we are, darling. I can't believe it. And then I thought I was going to have a heart attack. I'm really embarrassed, but I was starting.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, oh, my gosh, I can't believe this is the reality that I've been fearing. And her wonderful children and my children and her parents, all just deep grief. And I got through it, and I'm walking out, as the family leaves. And there you are in the back of the church. I didn't know you were coming, but you have to know, Dennis, what that meant to me. It wasn't like, oh, I'll drive across town. You drove from Greenville, South Carolina to show your support, to love on me. And it meant and means everything to me. And it was a surprise. I am in this state of, I just can't believe this is all happening. And there you were.
Yeah, in the back row.
And I threw up. I did. Whoa, I didn't know that. Too much. It was too much. And then And then we all met in the reception area, and I made this video for her. So that's what I do. I have a video production company on top of the podcasting network. I work at a radio station, but I filmed Amy almost every day because I produce a video every year called A Second of the Day. I film a second of every day, and at the end of the year, I put together a video with music that meant something to me from that year. So I had all this wonderful footage of my beautiful bride, her adventurous spirit, her laugh, her sense of humor, her loving gaze. I tell you, the way she would look at me, boys all the time, I go, you marry someone or fall that looks at you that way, and you look at her that way. And so that's
life goals right there.
Yeah. So that's the story. There's so much more to the story, and maybe someday I'll finish the story and write about it like Amy wanted us to. She thinks it should be a rom-com. Not a Nicholas Sparks. She wanted some humor in there. She was funny. She was very funny. And so
the dark humor of it, yeah.
It is, well, and so anyway, that's a story. And so that's how it happened. I'm sorry that took so long to tell, but the grief journey didn't begin when she died. It began in that doctor's office when we had just found each other.
Oh, yeah.
And the grief of growing old together was suddenly just pulled out from under us. And then when she left us, and that's another story, but we'll save that for a different day.
Dude, cancer is hideous. As we speak right now, I know probably 3 or 4 people fighting a battle of some sort against cancer right now. And this is a suicide loss podcast, right? Wrong. It's a grief podcast. No matter, one time I was sitting in front of a person and they were arguing how this person died. It could have been a suicide. It could have been an overdose. And then the counselor said something very profound. She said, hey, gone is gone.
Yeah.
Just end that argument right now. It's
it's not just the method. And there's reasons to,
they're not walking in the door.
Right. And you said that. I remember you saying that when you and Jessica were kind at the beginning of season 3, right as we lost Amy, like within 2 weeks, we started season 3, and we can go back to that episode, and you said, listen, this is a suicide prevention podcast, suicide podcast, but grief is grief. Even if you lost a dog, Jessica lost a dog recently. And listen, I'm not trying to minimize losing a human, but grief is grief, and that is real. And the depth of the grief and the length of dealing with the grief might vary depending upon the relationship, whether it's a pet or a wife or whatever the relationship is. And it is a journey. My goodness. I had envisioned what grief might be like because I felt like the relationship with Amy, I was driving towards a cliff. I just didn't know when that cliff was going to come. I knew it was there, and I knew that was my destination unless there was something happened where I would go first. But she had stage 4 breast cancer in her brain, in her liver, in her spine, and that spread later to her lungs. And so, she was a strong woman, my goodness gracious. But I had a feeling what this might be like, and I was very wrong.
Wrong.
Very.
It's way worse than you think. It pins you. Grief has a way of sneaking up on you too. You might be driving along having a really good day, and a song comes on the radio, and next thing you know, you're pulled over and you're bawling.
Floors me almost on the daily, Dennis. And so you know this about me. I work at a country music radio station. And it's almost laughable that on the daily, there's so many songs about losing somebody. And in addition to that, there's so many wonderful love songs. And to take it a step further, there are so many songs that Amy and I would send to each other that I now play on the radio. And
oh my gosh.
And you told me you watched, you commented on my Facebook page that you watched the second of the day video that I did from 2025. And
stop right there.
Sure.
I highly recommend someone, if you're listening, go to Tim's page.
Well,
Tim Cicciarelli.
I'm not public, but I think I might make it public. But
you should somehow put it on the
I will. I'll put a link.
YouTube page for us.
I'll
at
put
Half
it on
Sorrow.
You bet.
Just to show you the work. It's a 7-minute video, and I was mesmerized.
Well, the fact that you would give me 7 minutes of your time to look at my life it's humbling. Thank you. But this year was extremely challenging because
it was a loss year.
It was, and I lost Amy right in the middle of the year, May 26th. And so you don't just breeze by it because it's a second. And the music that I chose is a group that I love called Lord Huron. And Amy and I would go see Lord Huron at Red Rocks in Colorado, and that was kind of our band. And then a lot of their songs have to do with the veil between the afterlife and and the here and now and grief. And so the songs that I chose are about grief, and they fit. So if you listen to the words, especially the middle song, so they're about grief, and it fits. And so I had to slow it down when Amy passed away, and there was a scene. I filmed her. It was the last night we were together in her hospital room before she went to ICU. I spent the night there every single night, and she was in her bed. And I filmed her. I filmed her all the time. And I used to say to her, is this okay? Because I filmed her getting CAT scans. I filmed her chemo. She said, yes, I want you to capture it because it needs to be part of our movie. So I filmed her, a very slow pan. She was in the bed. The lights were low. You can't really see her. It's a silhouette, but it breaks my heart just thinking about it. And then I fade out. And then the next scene is after she passed, right after she passed, she still had her wedding ring on, is our hands together on the day she left us. And then I don't have a week in there, but it transitions into my life now without her. And I got to tell you this story. Amy and I would often talk about this. Like I said at her funeral, we would talk about, if you go before I go, I want a sign. I want a sign from you. So Amy passed away on May 26th, which was a Monday. The following Monday, I was driving back to the radio station. Imagine.
Oh, you went right back to work?
They gave me a week off, and I was new at the radio station. Right?
Oh yeah,
so,
you just started there.
But I just started. But they gave me a full week off, which I thought was very lovely. This company I work for is amazing. But I'm going back to work a week to the day she died, and I'm like, how am I going to do this? And I'm talking to her. I still talk to her.
Oh yeah.
I talk to her audibly, like I'm talking to you. And I said to her, darling, okay, look, we had a deal. You're supposed to give me some kind of a sign. I'm missing you. And Dennis, as sure as I'm sitting here right now, I pull up at a red light in Commerce, Georgia, where I live, and the street is Elm Street. Well, we lived on Elm Street in Colorado, but that's not the sign. The sign was the car in front of me at the red light, and there was, people put stickers on the back. And the sticker on the back was, and we're talking within like 13 seconds of me saying this to her, all is well with my soul. Is that
on Elm Street?
On Elm Street. All is well with my soul. I'm telling her to give me a sign. Now listen, is it coincidence? Maybe. But I pulled out my phone and I filmed it, and that was my second of the day that day. So that was that's part of the grief is the looking for signs and I don't know, logic steps in and emotion steps in and spirituality steps in and just the missing, the coming to terms, the reality that they're not there, our brain trying to figure that out, it just doesn't make sense, even though we were expecting it. And you weren't expecting it.
No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're expecting it or you're not expecting it. I've read some studies like the end is the end. It could be a long-term battle or it could be a sudden, they're gone. And how many times, I ask you a question, because I think about my brothers too. How many times did you think about calling her?
On the daily, because that was, or texting or calling.
Texting.
And all of it. And that's the first thing. You're like, oh, but that's my person. That's who I text when everything happens. Even the mundane. That's what I miss the most, are the mundane things. Can't text them, can't call them, but I can talk to them.
That is the thing about grief. Grief is weird. You think it's a big thing. Oh, we could have went to Europe together. No, it's the little things. It's like literally laying in bed and your foot hits their foot.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes.
You long for that. We're not going to climb Mount Kilimanjaro, whatever, whatever we want to do. I just want, I want her toothbrush in the sink, the toothpaste. Like, hey, I told you about this, little stuff like that.
That stuff is immeasurable. The little things, more than the trips or the holidays or the birthdays. It's that stuff. And I have to say this, I almost feel like I fell into this mission to married couples or anybody, but like, just really show that person that you love them all the time. Because the gift that you have when you have your person, and listen, Amy and I, this is going to sound funny, but we didn't really argue or fight. And we had a challenging life. We had blended families. We had different ways of doing things. We had cancer. We moved across the country. I mean, we were beat up.
You had some stressors, yeah.
Oh, but we were a team and we loved each other. And that woman respected me and I loved and respected her. And it was just this, And I know people might be going, okay, Tim, yeah, you were only with her 5 years. Listen, I was married before, and so was she. I was married for 22 years before her, but I met her before I met my first wife, actually.
Oh, yeah.
So, but my point in saying that is yes, we were married for a very short time, and you were in your honeymoon phase. No, we weren't. I just found my person. And here's the point I'm trying to make is even though we had this amazing, loving, respectful, adventurous love story marriage, there are still times when little things will pop up, and that's where the regret comes in. Now, regret is a big part of grief. And so
woulda, coulda, shoulda.
Woulda, coulda, shoulda. I run my own company, as you know. This is what we do, and I'm very busy, but I have to get things done. And so there's so many things. I call those little weeds that pop up. And then and we'll talk about grief more in a minute, but I'd like to share this with you if I could. I had some of my family members visiting me recently, and I was lamenting about some of the weeds that popped up. Oh, I wish I would have, quit work a little bit earlier. I wish I would have done this, even though I went with her to 99% of her chemo.
Oh yeah, you think about the 1% you missed.
You do,
yeah.
and so this book that I keep holding up that she gave me for Valentine's Day, it says this story is bananas, and so my family members, they wanted to read it. I said, of course you can read it, because this was her gift to me to start writing our story. So this was given to me Valentine's Day. So when I have these little weeds that pop up of regret, this is what she wrote. And forgive me if I get a little emotional, but this is how she ended it. You are a kind, ambitious, smart, genuine man, and you're the best thing that ever happened to me. I'm grateful every day to have you as my partner, not to mention your handsome face. She clearly needed glasses. All of that in a bag of chips, as they say. I love every part of you, and you love every part of me like no one else ever has. For that, I'm so grateful and lucky. You make a girl with a terminal illness feel grateful and lucky. That's bananas, right? So, the weeds pop up, the regret.
Hold the waterworks there, buddy. Hold on there. Let's recover from that.
Am I not the luckiest guy in the world? So as she's passing away.
She writes that.
No, she wrote that before she passed away, months before she passed away. But as she's passing away, I was trying to protect her. Her oxygen level kept dipping, and it was just not good. We were in ICU, and she was in and out of consciousness, and I didn't want her to be alone. And her kids flew in from Colorado, and it was Amy coined this phrase to me anyway. It was brutal. When the night that she was diagnosed, we cried, we fell on the floor crying, holding each other. And then when I went back to California, she said that was one of the most brutal night of my life, is what she said to me. It's brutal and beautiful. Well, her death was brutal, dare I say. And the last word she said to me, like, I was trying to protect her. I didn't want her to know she was dying. I was so afraid that she knew she was dying. And so I was very protective of what people were saying around her, even though she was in and out of consciousness as she was leaving us. And it took everything. And then at one point, it was obvious, that she was dying, and she knew. And I broke, and I started crying, and I was thanking her for that, for the life that she gave me, for the love that she gave me, for the new family members I have, for this wonderful experience. And I'm crying, and I'm like, I'm so lucky. And with every bit of energy that sweet woman had, and she didn't have any, she just pounded her chest as best she could. And the last words she said to me were, I'm lucky. So I don't tell you this story to go, oh, look at this wonderful love story I had and I lost. Oh, poor me. No. But for those of you who are blessed, including you, Dennis, and I know you love and adore your wife.
Oh, yeah.
Really I just have this strong desire for people who are in relationship that have
to realize it,
and realize that one of you is going to die first unless there's an accident. And I know that's a grim thought, but it's a reality. And even though Amy and I had this spectacular, wonderful, connected marriage, there's still those little things that I have to go, dang it, I wish I would have done this, because I can't now. So we're talking about grief today, and that's just somebody who's on the other side who's experiencing it. And for those that found this podcast because you were searching for something, or maybe you're grieving already, then it's too late for that. But we're all in this together, and to Just appreciate what you have while you got it.
Dang, Tim, this is this podcast with you being on a guest today, it just transcends all kinds of stuff. I'm speechless. This whole trajectory, and by the way, going to your funeral was a no-brainer. That was the Amy's funeral. That was a no-brainer. That was easy.
You say it was easy, but I know it was a Friday, and Greenville's a ways away, and I really hope you hear the sincerity in my voice, is how insanely grateful I was, and what a gesture that was that I will never forget.
Well, I appreciate that, but I really went for the free lunch.
It was a good one too, wasn't it?
It was a really good lunch, and I'm a sucker for a free meal. No, that was easy. Just get down there, and Jessica would have came if she could have that day. We talked about it, but it's then I'm just thinking about the year of first, and then you come back from work, you're back there a week, and then you start back with us on the podcast.
Yeah,
on the sidelines, like in the background, editing, pushing this out, and listening to it at the same time.
And editing,
while you're
hear
going through your journey.
Syllable. Yeah.
So how were the holidays? It's the year of first. How were the holidays for you?
Not good. I'm gonna be honest. It was, and here's why. Because I'm a video creator. This is what I do. I create media, digital media. And so because I captured Amy so much, what a blessing that was, that I have her. I filmed her almost every single day. So first of all, it was the holidays, and enough said. Christmas is challenging, and Thanksgiving was her favorite holiday, and having to navigate through that. But her birthday was December 20th. So I gave her children each of her kids a digital frame, so that they could have photos of their mama that they didn't see, that I took of her.
Oh yeah, I love those digital
their mom
frames.
As a whole person, not just as a mom, this sweet woman. And they did. They had a front row seat to our relationship, and I hope we were able to model for them and for my boys, even though they were growing, like this is what a relationship should be like. But I gave them a digital frame each, and so I spent all of the holidays from Black Friday up through Christmas,
loading them,
going through every single photo I've taken of the relationship for each of her kids. And then I made a video for her birthday. And then I made my second of the day video. So in essence, the holidays, I relived the entire relationship. And so it's good and bad. It's good because I got to, it was therapeutic and cathartic, but then I had to look at all those wonderful times that'll never be again. But I'm grateful. So if you watch my second of the day video, and anybody would want to watch me for 7 minutes other than to get a piece of this story, and we'll include the link in the episode notes. But I said in 2025, I walked hand in hand with grief and gratitude.
That's what it was, yeah.
And that's the thing that I've really extracted from the grief. And the gratitude is for the time with her, but also you and Jessica. And I have other podcasts with different topics, and this radio station job that I have, I adore being back on the air here again.
Oh yeah, you got the great voice for it, buddy.
Oh, well, thank you. But I was on the radio here for a long time before, so I'm back in the same market, reconnecting with old listeners, and I work for a wonderful family-owned radio station. I'm playing the music that made country great from the 80s and 90s. And so, like I said, that's kind of a curse. And the reason I brought up the video in the first place was, if you watch the video, you'll see a song that I film, the song that I'm playing, and the song is George Strait, Run.
Yeah.
And you see that throughout the video. Several people
throughout the video several times.
George Strait Run? What is that all about? Well, when Amy lived in Colorado and I lived in LA, and I would fly up to see her, she would send me every single time "Run" to me. That song, that she would send me the George Strait Run. That's what the song is. I don't care where you are, get on a plane, run to me right now. So every Monday, Amy passed away at 4:58 on Monday, May 26th. So when I went back to work that first Monday, at the time she passed away, I play "Run" by George Strait. I've not missed a Monday. So every Monday, that's what I play.
Whoa.
And I stop, I close the door to the studio, I pull out my phone, I stare at pictures, I cry the whole song, and then it's the top of the hour after that, right at 5 o'clock, I shake it off and I get into on-air personality mode.
Let's get into traffic. Oh my God.
So,
sports with Tim Cicciarelli.
Yeah, we do it all. But that's my tribute, and that's in the second of the day. And so you asked how my holidays were. They were a challenge, as they are for everybody, because the holidays is a time of getting together and memories are created, and that's it. But to circle this back to our audience and what they're going through, this podcast shouldn't be about me and my grief alone, but what I've learned from grief and how to deal with grief through you and Jessica on this podcast. Because you asked me, gosh, right after Amy passed away, we're back here doing this podcast, and I'm editing it. And what was that like? It was therapeutic. You two, you and Jessica have this amazing chemistry. And the fact, here's what I'm going to tell, for those that have stumbled across this episode that might not have listened to previous episodes, Dennis and Jessica, it's a tough subject, what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Yet, there's laughter. There's joking.
Dude, we got to
Dare
laugh.
I say joy in this tough subject. Therein lies the UVP, as we say in marketing, the unique value proposition this podcast brings to those that have suffered a loss due to suicide, or in my case, a long illness. And that is what I'm able to extract on top of the other practices that you have or ways of dealing with it, and the love that you and Jessica share for those on the other side of the speakers or the screen is there's still a way to extract some type of joy and maybe even a little humor. And Dennis, you're a master at it, and how you do it, I don't know. And I'm an on-air radio personality, and I have to shift out of grieving husband mode to, hey, tonight I'm emceeing a party in Gainesville, Georgia for 80s and 90s country night. I got to be on stage and be, happy and joyful and silly. And that's sometimes quite a challenge for me. And so when I see you here making people laugh and still cry, it's a wonderful tool.
Well, I'm crying right now. It's almost at the point, Tim, where if I don't laugh, I'll cry. It's there's no middle ground for a while. But if you look at the two of us on this podcast, I have long-term grief. Yours is short-term.
Yeah.
But it's still grief. So there's a healing message in all this. Matt, Mark, 83, 94. I'm somewhat removed from it, but it still hurts.
Yeah.
Like I spoke this week. I was in Boston. You could hear my nose a little bit. I was on an airplane. I got a little cold or something from the airplane. But there was one guy, it gets deep when I talk about my brothers, but then I did tell a little joke, not a joke, just made a reference about my life. And most of the jokes are aimed at me, not at the disease state or any mental health. They're always aimed at me or something. Like, I could take it. And this guy in the back really laughed loud. And I looked up, I acknowledged him. I said, dude, you got to come with me to every talk. That was awesome.
He'll be your plant up there.
Oh, it was really
and
loud.
Laughter is contagious too. And that kind of, it's a really good levity in a tough subject, isn't it?
It helped, and that it is a tough subject. And dude, yours is raw, as we say in the business. When I run a loss meeting for survivors of suicide loss, and if someone comes in like, when did you lose somebody? Oh, about a month ago. Raw. It's just raw.
It's raw.
There's a fog. There's a fog. Right after Amy passed, there's probably a couple of days you don't remember how you got through them. Now you videotape
I don't know how I'm
everything.
getting through now. You're right about that. I look back and go, and you're right. That week in particular, I had to manage her children.
Funeral.
I had to tell them their mother was passing away, get them to be with us, prepare, develop a funeral for everybody that we weren't planning for, and the whole thing. But you realize how did we do all of that? How do we push through? I was in a complete autopilot mode.
Well, I'm a spiritual man, and God gets you through it. It's just unbelievable. You just put one foot in front of the other, and then you look back like, how did I even breathe? Yeah. How did I even remember that part? But grief will do that. It'll put you in a fog, and your concentration goes out the window for a while. That's crazy. You can't put 1 + 1. What is that? I think it's 2. You can't even put simple. How do I tie my shoes again? Stuff like that. Hold on. Come on.
And to hear you say that, Dennis, so for those that are grieving and for the first time, because we're going to suffer grief a lot in our lives the older we get, but to hear you say that made me feel, especially when it was very raw, and it's still raw. It's been 7.5 months since I lost Amy. But hearing you say that made me feel like, okay, I'm not going crazy. This is a natural response. because I do things around them. Now I bought a house since then. I'm in a little tiny house. It's very small. It's just me. And I talked to Amy. I've got her clothes out still. I mean, it might seem a little weird to some people. I have her ashes.
No.
And I have a room. I call it Amy's room. And if people want to think I'm weird, I don't care. But that's where I sit every night. That's where this book is. And in there are some of the plants that I've been able to somehow keep alive since her funeral that we got. And it's decorated with her photos everywhere and her glasses and her wedding ring and all of that's in there. But that helps me. I'm able to walk through and I can't believe I'm saying this out loud, but I'm like, good morning, darling, as I go get my coffee. I mean, she's not here, but she is.
It's not. No, everybody who suffered a loss totally gets that. Yeah. I stayed with a guy. I did a training for Soul Shop. We had Michelle Snyder on the podcast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She does that Soul Shop training. And I did a training for her in Pittsburgh. And they actually set me up with a guy. I stayed with a guy because he was part of the church. And the next day I was going to go to his church and do the course. And he was one of the guys who brought us in. So he gets up early and he's doing his Bible study. There's a candle next to him. Mm-hmm. I said, that's nice. A scented candle. He goes, all right, that's my wife. Like I bring her to it. So he lights the candle and that's her. He was a widow. He goes, that reminds me that she's with me.
That
so
is
stuff like that people get.
That's what I'm talking about. When you say stuff like that, it makes me feel like, okay, I'm not going bananas. And really, I mean, that's a gift.
Your story's bananas, but you're not going bananas. How about that? The love story.
I wonder how long it's going to last. How long am I going to keep her clothes out? How long am I going to, I'm going to spread her ashes. And she actually asked me that question. She said, what are you going to do with my ashes? I said, well, I'm going to tell you what I'd like to do, but what would you want to do? She said, I want you to do what you want to do. So I'm going to tell you. So I said, Amy and I went on several adventures. We went to Sedona, where we hiked Cathedral Rock, and we went up there and meditated on trying to, Sedona's known for these healing vortexes. You reach for straws when you're battling this. So I'm going to go up there and spread some of her ashes. On the anniversary of our last full date, it was October of 2024, sadly, because she was getting a new round type of chemo. And she loved to hike. She lived in Colorado. And her chemo was going to start the following week. This was in October of 2024. I said, darling, let's go hiking in Tallulah Gorge. And so that we had the best day, October 17th, 2024. So on October 17th, 2025, it was now a Sunday. For the first time, I opened the box with her ashes, and that was traumatic.
Oof.
And I found a very special, Amy loved little jars for some reason. So I grabbed one of her little jars and I put some of her ashes in there. And I recreated the day. And the day included Waffle House. She loved Waffle House. So we went to a Waffle House in Commerce, Georgia. And so when I went there to recreate the day with her ashes in my pocket, tears in my eyes, I walked in the Waffle House and the waitress was going to seat me. And I said, no, ma'am, I want to sit right there. And she said, well, it might be a while because they just sat down. Why? I said, let me tell you why. My wife and I were here a year ago today. She loved Waffle House, and that's where we sat. She passed away a couple of months ago, and I want to sit there.
Damn it, Tim.
Oh, I'm not done, Dennis. This day. And so I waited, and she said, I'll get you in there. I'll usher him out. I said, no, ma'am, that's a father and his son. They can sit there an hour and a half. I don't care. I'm going to wait. And they had I could watch them, and it was a special little interaction between them. They were finished, and she ushered me in, and I ordered what Amy always ordered. And I sat there with her ashes in my pocket, and I finished breakfast, and then I drove up 441 north to Tallulah Gorge. Now, Amy also loved boiled peanuts. So I know, same. I know, same. But
it's a southern delicacy.
It is, and I didn't get it, but she loved it. So we were driving up to Tallulah Gorge, and there was this sign, boiled peanuts up ahead. She's like, we're stopping. So I pull up in this little country store, and a big, huge metal sign said hot boiled peanuts with like written in chalk. It was really cool. And Amy wanted a photo by it. So of course I'll take photos of her all day. So I have a photo of her next to that and with her boiled peanuts that she loved. Ugh. So I decided on this year anniversary to go up there and get some boiled peanuts, even though I don't like them. So I walked in there and I was looking for the sign. The sign was gone. I'm like, where's that sign? It was a creative, tall sign. It was taller than Amy, hot boiled peanuts. And I told the lady, I said, where's the sign that was out there that said hot boiled peanuts? And she said, I haven't seen that in a while. Why? Well, let me tell you why. A year ago today, my wife, Amy, loved boiled peanuts. And we came in here and got some, and she said this, and this is true, the best boiled peanuts she ever had. So I took a picture of her next to that sign. She passed away a few months ago, and I wanted to take a picture of that sign. I was even going to ask if I could buy it from him. And she started crying. She said, can I hug you? I said, yes, ma'am. And so she said, let me go ask my husband, who was in the shop working at this country store. She asked him where the sign was, and I threw that thing away a long time ago. And she said, well, he lost his wife, and he took a picture next to that sign with his wife, and he was hoping he can get it. He said, son, I'm sorry, I threw that thing away, but can I hug you? I said, yes, sir. So I'm driving out with her boiled peanuts, and I see the frame to that sign, the frame right at the driveway. This tall, big frame, metal frame, metal frame. So I took a picture of that empty metal frame, and it was kind of symbolic and metaphoric.
Wow,
the frame wasn't there, nor was Amy. So I took a picture of the empty frame. And then I drove up to Tallulah Gorge, and this to me was the best part of the story. I hike up there through the gorge, and there's a big bridge that crosses the gorge, and I have her ashes. I should have gotten a permit to do this, by the way. I think I might be incriminating myself, but I didn't. So I wanted to drop the ashes, spread her ashes from the bridge over the gorge at the same exact spot where I filmed my second of the day with her the year before of us kissing on the bridge.
Oh, man.
Dennis, I go back a year on my phone, my camera roll, and I looked to see where exactly on the bridge we were. And I look at the timestamp, and it was 3 minutes away to the year. Purely coincidental that I took that picture of us. There I am on the bridge with her, not knowing that a year from that moment, I'd be spreading her ashes on that bridge. So I spread her ashes for the very first time. I'm crying. I filmed it. That's in my second of the day, too. If you go back and watch it, you'll see me. I'm in a black shirt, and I'm spreading her ashes over the gorge. And this was magical. As I looked to see which way the wind was blowing.
Yeah, it's always smart.
And so I said, okay, it's blowing that way. So I turned this way, which was wonderful because it was the most beautiful part of the gorge. And I shake out her ashes, and the ashes spread out, and light hit the ashes like it was just something you see in a movie. The ashes were we're talking 2 seconds. They were spread out. The wind took them, and they were sparkling and gone. And that was magic. And then I walked back to the car, cried all the way home, but it felt really good, and I felt I honored her. So that's what I'm going to do with her ashes. I'm going to go to Sedona. I'm going to go to Catalina Island. I'm going to go to Hawaii, all the places we went together in those same spots. So I'm sorry it took so long to tell that story, but that's how I'll honor her.
I should have brought tissues. I'm using this stupid microfiber rag. You had me going, dude. I'm like, if you look at the video, you say, why is Dennis using that green rag for? The tissues are over there. I don't want to get up and get them. The stories are riveting.
Well, the stories have nothing to do with this topic other than me remembering my wonderful bride, Amy. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to take all that time to
No. What happens through storytelling, Tim, is people can relate because everyone out there has their quirks. I was sitting at a survivor suicide loss meeting, and someone mentioned like that they had their son's sweatshirt and they don't want to wash it because it smells like them, and everybody in the room got it. Like, yeah. Everyone in the room's like, yeah, you better not wash that thing.
Right.
No, you better not wash it. People have like, I haven't made his bed. I get it.
I have her pillow.
Yeah.
I have not changed the pillowcase since May. It's there. It's. I don't care. It's going to be on my bed that's her pillow. And I haven't even taken the case off the pillow. I won't do it.
Now I think I told the story on our podcast. I had my brother's weight bench. It was a weight bench, workout. And eventually at some point I had moved it like from Pennsylvania to Chicago to South Carolina. I moved this thing. It's a weight bench.
It's a weight bench, not a pillowcase. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not like a handkerchief, So finally I was moving again. I went through a divorce and I'm moving. I'm looking at the weight bench and something just said it's time. Mm-hmm. It had all these moving stickers on it. I said, I can't take that thing. So I put it on Facebook Marketplace. Some kid got it. I didn't tell him the story. I said, hey, that was my dead brother's weight bench. Good luck. Terrible. Didn't work out. So
in a marketplace, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I just let the kid have it.
What was it like watching him drive away with it?
It was weird.
Mm-hmm.
It was weird. Like, wow, you really like. Part of me wanted to chase the car. I said, no, buyer's remorse, seller's remorse.
Sure.
Give it back. There's also part of it going, let that kid lift weights to it, and you got to go. You got to go up to Greenville. You got to move.
Yeah. I still have all of her stuff. I moved, like I said, it was very difficult for me to move her clothes from where we were living before to where we are now, because I left our place exactly the way she left her stuff, from her medications and then when I finally, I felt like I was erasing her as I was her fingerprint, her actual, where she left things. And that was very challenging.
That she touched. Yeah.
But I still have all of her clothes. I have a closet for all of her clothes, and her photos are up everywhere. And I would find her hair clips everywhere, and not here, of course. But anyway, so these are the things that we do. So, and we can probably wrap up this episode. Hopefully our audience found something out of it beyond me just lamenting about losing my wife. But
no, it's a grief story. It's a brutal. What do you have? Brutal,
brutal and beautiful. Yeah.
It's a brutal story of, love and then love lost, but still love endures. You can't kill love. You can't do it.
And how blessed we are. That's the thing. When I put in my video, I walked hand in hand with grief and gratitude. If you can be grateful while grieving, that's kind of a gift. So I'm pretty blessed. I'm not blessed she's not here. I miss her, and I'm
dearly
struggling. But my goodness, how grateful I am. And not just for the relationship I had with her, but Dennis, this relationship that I've built with you and Jessica and other folks that have really rallied around me. And grief softens you, because you realize everybody's going through something, and it can make you a better person. And I really believe that it has. Amy made me a better man just by being her husband, and now, and even hopefully a better, kinder, gentler man without her being here. And I learned that through her grief. And so, we'll end on this unless you have more questions. But I was, the Instagram algorithm knows me, and this might be the best thing I've learned about grief. And it was from a grief counselor, and she had a clear box. A clear box. She can hold this box. It's clear. You can see inside it. She said, "This is your grief. This is your life with grief now. It ain't going anywhere till the day you die. If this was real, genuine love, relationship, connection, it'll be there forever. Sorry, not sorry. That's the deal. Here's how you manage it." And then she pulled out a bigger clear box. And then she put that little clear box inside. She said, "You make your life bigger. And then if you make your life bigger by meeting new people, new experiences, sharing the stories of the person that you're grieving, that's how you get through it." And so with that, Dennis, I thank you for letting me tell the story about Amy. I feel like talking about her keeps her alive, in essence, and the videos that I produce about her. So you have given me a forum to make my life bigger. So thank you.
No sweat, because it's a tough subject no matter what the loss. Grief is a tough subject. And you bring in an interesting, fresh perspective, Tim, that, Jessica and I are long-term survivors, long-term grief. You have a short-term grief. I don't care where you are, audience, on your grief journey. Keep moving forward if you can. If you get stuck, as you know, get help and all that other stuff, and try to do, like Tim does, a lot of positive coping skills. Be aware of the negative coping skills, if you're drinking or doing other stuff to get by. Just be aware of that and know that, does it get better? Yeah, it does get better, but our life was better with the folks in it. That's a fact. We can't get past that.
Well, that's where the gratitude comes in.
Yeah, that you had them.
Yes. Can you imagine if we didn't?
I still imagine, going back to the early part of the podcast, that you found her on Facebook and rekindled a love affair it's started in Georgia, went full circle, came back to Georgia. Yeah. And it will live on in eternity.
A lot of folks can throw shade on Facebook or whatever, and that the algorithm, and they're spying on me. I got to tell you, finding Amy, the fact that she was there, I feel, you said you're a spiritual man. I tell you, I can't help but believe there was some orchestration going on. And
absolutely.
I'm very,
absolutely.
very grateful.
Now we know God uses Facebook. Okay, that's cool. God's on
Friend
Facebook.
God, please.
Yeah, exactly.
Give him a follow.
Give God a thumbs up. I think that's a good place to end right there.
See, there's always some humor element component to It's a Tough Subject, and we can always count on Dennis and Jessica for that. So my thanks to the audience for listening to me, and a much prettier face will be joining you the next time when Jessica comes back. I'll be back behind the curtain pushing all the buttons, but thank you for letting me put a microphone in front of my face and being a part of this amazing podcast the service that you have created for those out there that are suffering.
Well, Tim, thank you for being a big part of it. It's funny, how we met, and now we're friends for life. Mm-hmm. I appreciate you coming on today. It's a tough subject, no matter what you're going through. Life is hard. It's just hard. And it's moments like this that, when we reflect back on our loved ones, it gives us clarity going forward. So thank you very much for your help today.
Thank you.